Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ball Not Court Podcast host Cortez Paul.
Along with my co-host Paul Mack.
I want to thank you folks for tuning in today and listening to the show. Basically, we cover basketball, football, NCAA, or anything that's related to current events with a humorous twist to it, at least. You can follow the podcast at BIOC Podcast at X or Twitter. We're also on Instagram at the same name, BIOC Podcast. You go to our YouTube channel, that's also BIOC Podcast. Our Facebook page is Balls Not Court Podcast. So if you could please just give us a like, shout, comment on any of those, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Balls Not Court Podcast. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Ball Not Court Podcast. Cortez Paul is here. And the usual, the other co-host, Mr. Paul Mack. Top of the day to you, sir. How's it going,
yes,
my man?
Sir. Happy Monday. Glad we can knock this out earlier than normal, or that our schedules align and we can keep giving the people what they want.
It is beautiful, man, because in the past I was working Mondays and now I'm not working Mondays. So I'd really just sit around my place and play Xbox and went to the gym, and a productive day. I did chest and ran on the treadmill about 15 minutes. So, just slim fat boy just trying to lose weight, or the decision he regret from eating food last night from the Magic and Knicks game. So I'm out here living,
That's it, bro. That's it. That's all you can do.
Absolutely, man. So, hey, let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about this Bills and Lions game. The Bills end up winning in another shootout, 48-42. And so this game was another high-scoring affair for the Buffalo Bills. Paul, potential game of the year, or what's your overall thoughts about this game?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably say that. I mean, this seems to be the thing with Buffalo right now is they're scoring a lot of points, but they're also giving up a lot of points. I mean, this was them last week to the Rams. They gave up a lot of points to the Rams. Came on late but couldn't score enough. And then to give up 42 points to the Lions and still hold on to win 48-42 is pretty crazy. But, they know who they are, I guess. I guess when you come out and you can have a game like this and you can score that many points, have no turnovers. Crazy things happen. But on the other side of that too is Detroit continues to rack up injuries, which is unfortunate because, you hate for that to be the demise of a team who has kind of been setting the tone all year. And when most teams are getting stronger towards the end of the season, they're doing the opposite. They're really depleted now. Big injuries. We already know about that defense. So, you hate to see it, but they're still sitting at 12-2. So, they're still probably going to get a first-round bye, which will be huge. But knowing that they're not going to have David Montgomery the rest of the season does hurt tremendously.
Yeah, man, that's that wombo combo, as we like to mention, between him and Gibbs. So
Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, man. So to lose him to a MCL, torn MCL, it sucks, man, because Lions has been beat up. We mentioned this on previous podcasts that they're really going through some things with their front and their front seven, front line. So linemen, they just are not staying healthy right now. So wasted a Jared Goff performance, man. He went for damn near 500 yards and had 5 touchdowns. And usually quarterbacks that go 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, they're undefeated. They're 16-0. Jared Goff was the first one to lose the game. We all know what's going on. He
lost another weapon. Amon-Ra St. Brown really took off. 14 receptions, 193 yards. So they were really good. Buffalo has just been fantastic the last 2 weeks. 2 40-piece nuggets in the last 2 weeks, man. They are really putting up points and they're giving up points. But the first half, they scored 3 out of 4 on their first possession. They could have scored in one of their possessions, but Tyler Bass ended up missing a field goal. So it went 3 for 4. So that's to tell you how really the Bills are operating right now. And Josh Allen had another fantastic week, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had 2 rushing touchdowns too. So he looked fantastic. So Paul, I want to go back to this where they put up 40 points in both of these games. Is this really sustainable for postseason play?
I don't think it is for postseason play because you're obviously it's the best of the best you're playing or whatever. But I think the thing for Buffalo right now is they're not turning the ball over. So I think that's what's helping them is they're literally, if you can score 3 out of 4 drives in the first half, that'll do it to you. You're not giving the ball to the other team. You're not giving anybody extra possessions. They're capitalizing on every possession. Can they score 40? No, but I think with the way that they're moving the football and the way that they're taking care of the ball, like they can put up some points. Now the bigger issue is their defense is giving up a lot of points. So and it seems like their pass defense, some of their pass defense is getting just absolutely scorched. I mean, you had Matt Stafford last week, you have Jared Goff this week. So they're giving up a lot of yards in the air. Obviously, Montgomery goes down, but they didn't give up a ton of rushing yards. Jahmyr Gibbs only ran for 31 yards, and Jared Goff ran for 13. Now, mind you, I guess I was going to say because the score was kind of out of hand a little bit, but so that kind of limits the ability to run the football. But either way, I mean, 494 and 5 touchdowns is crazy. And Matt Stafford had a huge game the week before. So when you get into the postseason and you're playing the cream of the crop quarterbacks, it has to be concerning that they can't stop anyone through the air when you're trying to make teams one dimensional in the postseason. So we'll see. I mean, Josh Allen's doing. Is he the MVP at this point? Can we go ahead and just stamp that? Is that going to be the thing everybody's saying now? Is he MVP? Saquon Barkley is having an MVP caliber season too for Philly, so we'll see how that race ends. But I mean, Buffalo at we'll see what happens because they are as fun to watch as they are on offense. They seem to be an absolute nightmare if they're playing against an explosive offense. So we'll see what happens in the postseason.
I will say this too. It probably does help that the Bills played inside the last 2 games. It was in the Dome, and then they was in LA and pretty much another dome. So the elements were not something to play here, but they still did a good job in the elements the 2 weeks before and put up points. So, but I wonder how much of this is just kind of construed because they played inside and not outside in the elements. But Buffalo's proven. I'm not sitting here and trying to throw shade towards Buffalo because they play in the snow and they do a really good job of doing that. So I want to sit here and they can't play. Obviously, they can play in the snow. That's not me just taking the job, but I just feel like the increased points is probably due to that. If I would just speculate, but that's just me just throwing my 2 cents on that. So, all right, let's go and talk about wild card race. Wild card is getting pretty interesting, man. My Denver Broncos, man, end up beating the Colts 31-13. And the game was actually close until the fourth quarter. I kind of was tuning into this in and out when I was at the Magic Knicks game last night. So, but at one point I'm like, man, this game is still close. What the heck? And turned down, looked down, and the score exploded. And I'm just trying to figure
I had Denver in a parlay yesterday, and they were the last team I needed to win. And they were just struggling the whole time. And I was like, bro, what the fuck are they doing, dude? And then, next thing I know, it was 31-13. I was like, oh, all right, never mind. After that whole Jonathan Taylor fumble out the back of the end zone, it seemed to really just kind of shift things because that would have been huge. But I'll take it.
Yeah, man. And it was one of those that Bo Nix didn't have a really good game. He had three turnovers, 3 interceptions. It's just back-to-back multi-interception games. Still learning. This is going to be development. This is how it is with rookie quarterbacks. So you just got to take your hits and blows. But he did come around and still threw 3 touchdowns in the midst of that. But what's your thoughts overall of this game from a little bit of the stuff that you did watch, or the highlights and stuff? What's your thoughts about this game between the Colts and the Broncos and what it means for the Broncos' chances for the postseason?
I mean, y'all's defense is really good. And I think that's the thing that stands out the most is like that defense is really good. You know, PS2 on the outside is going to shut down whoever he's covering every week. And like we talked about last week, the Broncos' inability to run, I think, is a real problem. I mean, some of their biggest runs yesterday were by Bo Nix on scrambles. Like they just couldn't get the ball rolling, and they used like 5 running backs, and just none of them seemed to be able to get the ball moving. So I mean, that's the the good and the bad is like, luckily for you guys, I think the defense can keep you in a lot of games, so like games can be competitive as long as Bo Nix can turn the ball over multiple times in a game, because obviously come the postseason when you're playing better competition, that's going to be a problem. You can't give these teams those extra possessions. It doesn't hurt you too bad when it's the Indianapolis Colts, but with a top five defense, you're always giving yourself a chance, but it's just your inability to run the football puts so much more pressure on the rookie quarterback that something's got to give, because you're putting way too much responsibility on him to make plays with his arm and his legs. So you want to see, Javonte show up. You want to see all these other guys show up and at least take some of that load. But, we'll see.
Yeah, man, you mentioned the running backs. McLaughlin had 21 yards. Javonte had 15 yards. And Esme had 13 yards. That's not going to get it done, man. And so it's just, as me and Paul have been harping a few weeks about the Broncos running game, it's just been non-existent. It's not been there. And I'm just really disappointed in Pookie, man, Javonte Williams, because that was the guy who had one hell of a career at North Carolina. And I was super excited to get him. I was like, this is going to be a good running back. So, and I know injuries has kind of stalled his career a little bit, and he's just not the same after some of these injuries that he had to his knee and everything like that. But man, there's some of these running backs who just want to make a decision on next year, because if you're going to have Bo Nix, who relies on play action, who relies running out and making pass on the fly, you got to have a solid running game to do this. So for him to do this and help us where we are, Bo Nix is a big part of where we are. Going forward, we want to give him a running game, and it just was disappointing. But speaking of that defense, fantastic. Nick Bonito pick 6 out the AR, and Mitchell fell trick play where he just caught it and just ran it for a pick 6. That's a big defensive end linebacker, just move like that. Just very impressive. Pastor Tanner II kind of had an ankle injury, and they thought it was going to be serious, but reading today that he is off the injury reports. He has just been as questionable, so thank goodness it's not as bad as it seemed. But Marvin Mims was a big part of special teams that kind of carried us as well too. He had 2 runs, 2 punts, 2 punt returns. One was 27 yards, and the other one was 61 yards. That helped on a scoring drive that was in the fourth quarter. That kind of put us up, and was kind of trending that the Broncos going to pull this out against the Colts. So, they're Nets. So here's the thing: the Broncos got a 91% chance to make the postseason. This will be their first time to clinch since 2015. That was their Super Bowl season. And it was in the playoffs. That's the last time we've seen playoffs, and over here in Broncos country. So it's been a minute. So not there yet. 91% is there, but I still feel weary about the whole, that left gap that we have there, because now you look at the Colts, they got the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals. And so the Colts play the Titans, the Giants, and the Jaguars. So yeah, they made a little run and then gave us a little scare for 3 quarters. But now you worry about their schedule, little gap there. The Dolphins schedule, they got the 49ers at Browns, at Jets, the Bengals at versus Browns, versus Broncos, at Steelers. Paul, do you see one of these teams make a jump here, or Broncos really control their own destiny? Because the Broncos got the Chargers, they're at the Bengals, and then they got the Chiefs at home. And then you're hoping maybe the Chiefs I want the Chiefs to play full strength, but your thought process is the Chiefs probably going to clinch the bye. Depends with Buffalo with a good win against the Lions. So they're still in the thick of things. So we'll see if the Chiefs are going to arrest people or not. But Pat Mahomes bound injuries too, so who knows, right?
I mean, even with that though, I mean, you guys have what a 3-game lead over, the team on the bubble. I mean, the three wild card teams as of right now is Baltimore, Denver, and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
You guys play the Chargers, but I just don't see you guys, dropping your last 3 games. I don't see that being a situation where you just completely collapse. And a team like, the Colts or the Dolphins somehow get in, because those are 2 teams that are struggling themselves. That I wouldn't worry about too much. Obviously, the Bengals at 6-8. Pending an absolute miracle, a team like that getting into the postseason, which would be absolutely bananas. So, I mean, I just think you guys have to, use the next 3 games to really kind of figure out that offense and figure out how you're going to support Bo Nix and what you're going to do. Because, again, the defense is the defense. Defense travels. I wouldn't be too concerned about the defense. I just need to look at the schedule, think about how many games you got to win, what matchups that's going to potentially get you in the postseason. But I mean, you have a 91% playoff probability, so I don't see that. I love those odds. I'll take those odds all day long. 91% solid. I mean, the NFC side though, totally different story. That's all but kind of worked out. It seems right now. Yeah, there's a lot going on over there. I mean, obviously, I guess because it's still undecided who's going to win the NFC South, but I guess we could say Tampa at this point.
I feel like Tampa's going to win.
So that slides them in. So that leaves Rams, Packers, Commanders, Seahawks, Cardinals, and I guess Falcons.
So, riddle me this, man, because the Vikings and Lions there's a little storyline here between the Vikings and Lions. It's 1 game apart for a division. And is there something the Vikings can do to catch the Lions? Because now the Lions, as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, is they're running to this injury bug and have been for the past few weeks. And now you lose one of your ace running backs for the season. What can the Vikings do to try to catch these guys, man?
I mean, they just got to win. That's their whole goal. They got the Bears tonight. You just got to win. You can't afford to drop anything. So it's start with, don't look ahead. Don't think about who's on the schedule. In the next week or week after that, you got to get through Chicago. I understand they were eliminated from the playoffs last week when they lost, but they still got Caleb Williams, and they still got some weapons on that team that could make some noise. You always got to be fearful of the interim head coach whenever they fire a head coach, and there's an interim head coach on the team there. So, for all we know, could the Bears surprise them? I don't think so. But, you just got to go out and win, because you're playing the game of who's going to lose first, and whoever loses first, essentially the other team's going to get first place in that division. So this is a place where Minnesota, I don't think anyone saw Minnesota being in. Obviously, with Detroit's success last year, we kind of expected Detroit to, be really good. But Minnesota surprised people all year, and why not? Why the hell not? Can they, win the NFC North? You know what I mean? With the way the Lions are beat up, who knows?
Yeah, and I mean the way the Vikings have been doing, as you mentioned, take care of the ball. Out of their last 4 games, they got 3 turnovers. And so that keep you in ball games if you neutralize your turnovers. Points allowed, they rank 4th in the league. Jefferson just killing it. He's been having a great year. Almost 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns on 75 receptions. So we already know the talent that Justin Jefferson is in the league. So one of the better wide receivers in the league, if not arguably the best receiver in the league. Vikings fans really to put up that debate. So rightfully so.
Tough schedule for them though. After tonight, like their last 2 games at Seattle and then versus Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough ask when you're going up against 2 teams who are also fighting for a wild card spot.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be a fun stretch down here, and also they need to make sure they keep putting sacks and getting sacks. They're a top 10 team in the league total sack wise, and between Greenyard, Van Ginkel, and Pat Jones II, they got 28 of the 40 team sacks. So their linebackers really do a really good job of getting to the quarterback. So Paul mentioned their schedule's kind of brutal. Seahawks did lose a tough one. I know they still in the dogfight for a wild card position and fighting for one or in the midst of that, but they really dropped one last night in the midst of them trying to chase theirs as well too. The Packers really came in and put it on them. Seattle's a tough place to play, so Packers get a lot of credit for going there and win on the road there up there in the nest. So the Hawks Nest is very, very tough place to play.
Meanwhile, on the flip side, Detroit ends the year at Chicago, at beaten up San Francisco. So schedule-wise, looks like it's favoring the Lions.
Favoring the Lions, yeah.
2 road games. Road games are road games, but Niners are a shell of who they're supposed to be, and who knows what the Bears are even playing for at this point.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's move on and pick Sue and invite to the barbecue. Barbecue still cooking the grill. The grill is still open. Still putting some stuff on the grill. Who's your top player?
You mentioned him earlier, but I'm going to have to go Jared Goff. That's just an impressive game. It comes at a loss, but 38 of 59, 494 and 5 touchdowns, no turnovers. That's a game right there. In a big spot against the Buffalo Bills, who are a top seed in the AFC. Mind you, he was kind of forced to throw because they were down a whole lot, but it's still impressive to see. Anytime you see damn near 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, I don't care who you are, that's impressive. And he's had some big games this season. I know he's been in this spot before. We're looking at him and like, Jared Goff is really good, and he's a guy who long shot odds, but he could be named kind of in an MVP. He's having an MVP caliber season for the Detroit Lions. He's managing the game for the most part. He had a couple ugly ones, but he has way more good ones than he has ugly ones. And you just got to admire the fight. They were down. And they just kept fighting, and they made this game close, and I lost by 6. Big rally in the fourth quarter, just didn't have enough time. So for me, it's Jared Goff. Seeing if he can carry that momentum. I know this team's hurting right now, but he's gonna have to carry that on his back and do what he has to do. We got St. Brown, Sam Laporta, all these weapons around him. Jahmyr Gibb out of the backfield as well. So yes, losing David Montgomery sucks, and that's huge. It's a huge hit for them. Their offense is still built to where I think they could be okay. So it's just gonna be his quarterback play. His quarterback play is gonna be big, ending the season into the postseason. He just can't turn the ball over. And man. So he's invited to the barbecue this week.
Yes, sir. All right. My barbecue pick, player of the week. I'm gonna go with tell you guys, give a shout out. This guy had a rough game last week against the Rams. He had 20 rushing yards total. Came around and woke up this week with 14 rush, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. So James Cook, go ahead and get you the dub, my boy. That's the way to bounce back. But we was kind of criticizing your running game last week and like where you at in this big output, and came back and you showed up, man. You was the best running back on the field that day. So salute to you, my man. Hell of a game. And because it's look cold in Buffalo, tell you what, man, fly up there. Let's go hibachi style.
So you give him a chili cookout or what? Get us chili?
Yeah, man. We're going to do some steak and shrimp. Make sure we do some fried rice. And we'll throw back some sake, man.
Ooh.
Not a sake guy, Paul? Not a sake guy?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Just Jen Cook's like he's a Hennessy guy.
Yeah. Hey, you want to get Hennessy, man. That's cool, man. But, we're going to have the guys on the hibachi grill with the bottle. Sake. So, yeah, hey. Yeah, well, Mr. Cook, you can have some Hennessy. I'll take some sake, my man. Mr. Mack, I'm intrigued to see if you have anybody for this guy's Stinks segment this week. Do you have anybody, anything?
We got a whole lot of people, bro.
Oh, man. I'm excited.
On the same weekend where we saw some good football, we saw, some NBA Cup, we saw NBA record for the most 3-pointers made in a game combined last night with Golden State and Dallas. Mm-hmm. We saw the absolute worst shooting performance of all time between the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. So that's who stinks. NBA record, most missed 3-pointers combined. I believe it was 75 total combined 3-pointers. They shot collectively 97. So they shot 97 threes total and missed 75 of them.
Oh my goodness.
So for those keeping math at home, that's 22. They made 22 threes combined.
Come to the game I love.
So, one team shoots 27%. The Chicago Bulls shot 27.5%. Charlotte Hornets shot 17.4%. And, the final score of that game ended up being 109-95. It probably could have been 300 to like 246 if they would have made some 3-pointers. But, it's a shame because, we say it all the time. Today's NBA, like, what can we do? Because that couldn't have been a fun game to watch at all. So thank God it wasn't on TV. And if you pay for NBA League Pass to watch the Bulls or the Hornets play basketball, I'm sorry. I mean, apparently the Chicago Bulls shoot the second most 3-pointers per game. So, I mean, it's on brand for them. I don't know what the hell Charlotte was doing, but knowing that, you only get X amount of possessions. So what does this say? So, like, for example, field goal attempts. They got 98 field goal attempts, and 46 of them were 3-pointers.
That's ridiculous.
So almost half of their shots were 3-pointers, and they shot at 17%. So, if you're the NBA right now, I think you have a little bit of an identity crisis. I think you have something you got to figure out because, as we learned last year with the All-Star game, the 3-pointer is, I don't think, is it. And if this is what we're going to put out every night, and then literally the next night you have an incredible game between Dallas and Golden State where it's the exact opposite of this. Those two teams can't miss, and that's just exciting basketball. It just stinks. It just stinks that this is kind of what the NBA has become. Again, these games are few and far between. Like, we don't get a lot of these, but when you do get one of these, it's a real stinker, and it kind of can take the wind out of the sails of the NBA. So, if you played for the Charlotte Hornets or the Chicago Bulls on Saturday, you fucking suck. And if you watch that game, please let me know how exciting it was. Tell me your favorite play. Was the one where they missed the 3-pointer? Because that was probably my favorite too.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
Which begs the question now for you, before we get into the next thing while we're talking about it. What would you do to fix the NBA's problem? Like, what do you think the solution is, if there is one? Obviously, other sports do things and they tweak rules and they tweak things that kind of make the game better. The NBA doesn't seem to be doing too much of that. We see a lot of it in baseball where they kind of change some rules to make it more exciting, make it better to watch on TV versus in person. Mm-hmm. If you were Commissioner Cortez Paul, what do you think should be done?
I think we really do cater too much to the offense side of the ball. To me, it's kind of ridiculous that we don't allow hand checking. You got some of the best athletes in the world that can pressure you guys, and I feel like also try to adopt some of these FIBA rules, man. Like be able to grab a rebound off the rim, something like that. So to me, I think things I would do is try to speed up the game. I think sometimes we get in this habit where it is a lot of threes that's being taken, but some of this is just the coaching of it as well too. It's so easy just to run a pick and roll and pick and pop because everybody else is like learn how to pick and pop. And don't get me wrong, it's okay with that, but you need to be able to reward these guys that can be able to go to the rim. I just don't see a lot of players that's willing to go to the rim. You got some people like Jalen Brunson, you got that you root for that like to drive and go to the rim. There's times as well where you got some of these other athletes that used to go to the rim. Like, I guess I'm just used to this whole Allen Iverson and Tracy McGrady where you had these athletes, Kobe Bryant, that were wings that like to go to the rim. Now, at times, yeah, it's difficult shots. It's hard. It's rewarding, but that's why I like some of these teams that are focused more on defense. Like you see a team like the Houston Rockets. You see a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder. You see a team like the Mad that's really committed to defense and really getting points in the paint. They're going to be more focused on points in the paint. They need more focus on rebounding. I screen for teams, and there's a few teams that really do kind of focus on the mid-range shot. Like I think the Kings is a really good team that focuses on the mid-range shot. With DeMar DeRozan, even De'Aaron Fox and DeMontis Sabonis do like a little pick and pop from the 15-foot. You're able to the rebounds are more controllable that way instead of the ball bouncing all over the place, and then you have the ball that just go ricochet, and it calls for like pandemonium with weird offensive rebounds, and then next thing you know, it ignites fast breaks. But to me, I think we need to carry more back to the defense side of the ball. Just my 2 cents, because a lot of these rules are kind of catered to the offensive player. Above the neck, technical fouls, very good, protect the game. But yeah, there's just so much I would do as far as like, at least what I would at least do immediately. There's a lot of hand checking, and then also inquire about let's grab a rebound off the rim, because FIBA seems to be very fun to do that. So, what's your thing? What you would do?
It's it's all started years ago when the Mike D'Antonis of the world, or I think analytics. I think sports has become so analytic based, and I think that's part of the problem. I think back in the day we didn't have all these advanced stats. We just looked at possessions. How many baskets can you score? If you score more baskets than the other team, you win. That was literal basketball analytics. Doesn't matter if they were twos or threes or whatever. If you made more baskets than the other team, you won. So what did we have to do in order to do that? And then you get all these advanced analytics, and it's the team that shoots the most shots wins X amount of percentage of time. The team that shoots this many threes actually wins this much. If you make this many threes, you win this percentage of the time. And there's all these numbers that people chase. And it's like, well, shit, if we can just shoot 30 threes a game and make, 10 of them, well, we have a 45% chance to win. And that's kind of what basketball has become. It's become this analytic monster to where no other stats seem to matter. Like turnovers don't matter. Fouls don't matter. You have all this talent around you where, you have someone like Anthony Edwards who doesn't even go to the rim anymore. He's shooting 13 threes a game.
Those guys used to go to the rim.
This is a guy walking highlight, and now for some reason he's shooting 13 threes a game. I don't want to watch the Timberwolves see Anthony Edwards shoot 13 threes a game. There's only one reason why I want to watch Anthony Edwards, and that's because he's going to make some play around the rim that's going to get me out of my seat. And when he's not, then you have John Morant talking about how he doesn't want to dunk anymore. Obviously, for the safety of himself, and he wants to prolong his career, I understand that. But
100%.
there's just no incentive for these athletic guys to go to the rim. I mean, 3's worth more than 2. So if your coaching staff or your offense, that's going to be your game plan is play defense and shoot 3s. What more can you do? That's going to be the offense. So it'll be interesting to see. But I just can't see much more of a team of 75 brick 3-pointers, And again, like I said, the highlights of the game last night between Dallas and Golden State, incredible. Those two teams could not miss. And when 3-pointers are falling like that and you're hitting contested 3s, it's really good ball movement. The ball's being moved properly and they're getting open 3-pointers. Like that's basketball. But like when you're just shooting 3s to shoot 3s, like it's tough. It's hard to watch for real.
That would drive me nuts about basketball sometimes. You're not making a long-range shot, so why don't you adjust? And it seems like some of these players are not really adjusting to that. And so there needs to be a way to incentivize mid and paint play. There needs to. And I don't know if it just needs to be where, stuff like that, what I'm saying, grab ball at the rim, not calling, offensive goaltending. You still want to call that if it's obvious, but like getting the ball at the rim, maybe that might incentivize guys going into the paint. But there's just guys are taking these shots and they're missing and they're still taking these shots. That's not making adjustments. I scream for my personal team that I root for. If you're not making a 3-point shot, it's okay to take the mid-range. Because guess what?
Get to the free throw line. Do something.
Right. At least in the mid-range, you take a mid-range shot. One, it's a higher percentage shot. If you get a pick off of it, you also can control the rebound. The rebound won't ricochet. God knows where. At least if you shoot like a 15-foot jumper, it's going to be within the range where you can get a rebound. And then also, you can also set your defense that way. You take a long 3, it bounce. Somebody gets the ball in a fast break. Your defense is unbalanced. You don't get back and set. There's the easy transition bucket. Sometimes you just got to play it safe, take the mid-range shot and see can you hit anything from the mid-range shot, and then get back and set your defense. If you have a good defense, that's why at least my team got a good defense. I'm screaming that. Take the 2. If you brick the 2, you got some time to get back on defense and defend. But some of these teams just keep shooting 3s. And I want to say maybe there's a way they can kind of incentivize taking the mid-range. If you take this, you get a certain kind of bonus structure. I don't know. Something needs to change with all this, because to hear about this Hornets and Bulls game with that many 3s taken, like why? Like, and it drives me nuts. My team take over 33. So I'm like, we're not a 3-point shooting team. But man, if I watching something like that, I thought my team was shooting bad last night until I saw that. I'm like, it ain't so bad after all.
No, there's always worse. And the problem is this won't be the last time we see this, and this record might get broken this season. So this is the current record for most missed 3s in a game. It might get broken.
And that's bad. That's a bad thing if it get broken again this year. So this segment on the this guy stink, because those teams stink if you shoot that many 3s. And we need to figure something out. It's a loaded question. I don't have an answer to it. Paul don't have an answer to it. But anybody else want to chime in? Feel free to chime in. What would y'all do to change the game besides seeing all these 3s being taken here? So good stuff. Let's go back and pick some NFL weekly picks. And we can pick for week 16. Now my window want to load up here. We can get it up. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. Thursday game. Got the Broncos at the Chargers. I will be wearing my Broncos gear at the Magic and Oklahoma City Thunder game that's going to be on TNT, and the Magic going to get blown out. But I'm still going to rock my Broncos shirt and the Magic hat. I did this last night. I wore my Broncos hat and a Magic shirt, and they kind of match. So I got like this like orange hat, like orange Magic hat, and I'm going to rock it with my Denver polo. So
hey,
if any of my Magic fans see me, mind your business. My football team hasn't made the playoffs since 2015. So I'm kind of on
he's ready. He's
pins
ready.
and needles, man. So, but I'm still supporting my Magic. I'm gonna be there. I don't know how long I'll be at the game, but I'm gonna be there. Nonetheless, if Magic gets smoked early, I would be leaving early to go watch a Broncos game. So,
who's Magic playing on Thursday?
The Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's on TNT.
Man, we get all these TV games when all our players are hurt.
Right. Make it make sense, Paul. Make it make sense. Hurting over here. Broncos, Chargers. This is in LA. Broncos fan usually show up here very well. And I got the Broncos winning. I think we'll clinch our first playoff berth since 2015. And they will beat the Chargers in a close game. 21-15 is my prediction.
Okay. I'm a fan of drama. I like drama. I like things to come down to the wire. So I'm gonna take the Chargers. I want to see the Broncos sweat a little bit. Like I said, you guys are struggling to run the ball. Bo Nix has been turning it over lately, so now is the time to nut up or shut up for Denver. You can pretty much lock in a playoff spot with this win, but the Jim Harbaugh Chargers, I think, get this one, and then it makes things a little bit interesting. There
you go. Well, Bo Nix had multiple turnover games the last few games, so be there for the taking for the Chargers. So, and this is the time of year we get Saturday games. 1:00 game Saturday. The Texans at the Chiefs.
I'm gonna take the Texans.
You like drama again, huh?
Kansas City's. If they lose, I don't think it matters. But I just think that they're due to drop one, and I think Houston can catch them.
Pat Mahomes down some kind of injury. You know what? Yeah, I can see the Texans playing up to them and taking one. So I go to Texans as well. And in the 4:30 game, this 10-4 Steelers versus 9-5 Ravens. Does this have implications for the AFC North?
I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh won the game already against them.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, if they win, they had to get the division on a different kind of spectrum. I'll look up what that is. I picked the Ravens to win. Ravens at home. They'll win. All right. On to our Sunday games. Giants at the Falcons.
I only got a few more weeks to do this. So Giants, Tim Boyle. Tommy DeVito got a concussion or something. He's out. So we're down to Tim Boyle as our starting quarterback. I don't know what happened to Drew Lock, but fourth string QB. Yeah, man. Why not? Fuck it. Giants.
Oh, man. I admire your faith, man. I do. If I can get back on track on this at home, Kirk O'Chains come out and wild out. And they still get false so that they're going to catch the Bucs in the NFC South. 1:00 game again. Your Cardinals at the Panthers.
I'm going to go Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going Cardinals too. 12-2 Lions at the 4-9 Bears. Lions.
Yeah, even beat up, I think the Lions are still the better team. I'm going to go Detroit.
All right. Continue to slate on 1:00 games. Titans at the Colts.
Titans stink, dude.
They're pretty bad.
But the Colts ain't great either. Colts at home.
Colts at home. Yeah. They're bounced back at that tough loss that they had. They really had a chance in the Denver game, but they'll bounce back at home. All right. Rams at the Jets. Jets. Stink.
My NFC wild card pick, the Rams. Rams got to get in that wild card. So I'm taking the Rams.
Rams going to stump them. The Jets are bad. And
I'm excited that Aaron Rodgers Netflix documentary, I think, comes out tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Plan on watching that.
Yeah, Ryan Clark called him out again.
Probably.
The Eagles at the Commanders. A.J. Brown happy. He got the ball last week.
Yeah, he did.
Won him bickering. All is well in the Eagles front. I had a couple of my high school buddies was at the game. Flew all the way from Florida to go watch. One's a Steelers fan and one's an Eagles fan. And one was just randomly wearing his Bucks gear. So it was all out there at the Eagles game.
I'm going to take the Commanders.
Gotcha. I still had to say the Eagles going to win this game. Commanders at one point was really making a good run, and kudos to them being where they are because not a lot of people had them being 9-5. So, and to be continued, as Paul picked them, so maybe get double-digit wins for it.
I just think the Eagles are due to lose one.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Apply some pressure, baby. All right. The Browns at the Bengals.
Bengals.
I'm going Jameis Winston, the Browns for the upset. AFC games are always brutal like this. So 11-2 Vikings at the 8-6 Seahawks. Seahawks got another home game.
I'm going to take Seattle.
I kind of agree with you. I'm leaning towards Seattle as well.
I don't know if I trust Minnesota. I just don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Very true. All right. The 3-11 Pats at the 11-3 Bills.
Buffalo. At home.
Barbecue chicken. The real question is, Paul, do they put another 40-piece?
Nah, I imagine weather would probably be pretty shitty, so probably not.
Yeah. All right. The 3-11 Jaguars at the 2-11 Raiders, and I probably would say that the Raiders would have a lot of their fans there. Usually a lot of teams come in there. Both teams are doing pretty bad, so maybe you have a few Jag fans on the road and show up, but they're defeated.
I mean, Jags got nothing to travel for this year. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I still think it'll be the Raiders, though.
Man.
4 games, 4 wins for the Jacksonville Jaguars in my book. Screw the Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders are pretty bad. I'll take Jacksonville.
I enjoy their demise right now. Raiders can keep losing every year they want to. All right. Your last 4:00 game, 4:25 game. The 49ers at the Dolphins.
Ugh. Dolphins?
They're at home. Dolphins are winning. They was on the road. I would pick them to lose. And your primetime game.
Niners are just fucking hurt, dude.
Yeah. Pretty rough right now. All right, and your primetime game, the 8-6 Buccaneers at the 6-8 Cowboys. Cowboys get a lot of primetime games that should be fussed out.
I mean, I feel like the most exciting part of this game is going to be, can they keep getting Mike Evans the ball so he can get close to his consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons? I mean, he went from needing like over 100 yards a game. Now I think he needs he had over 150, 60 yards last week. I think he only needs 80-something yards a game to still get to 1,000, considering how many games he missed.
The Cowboys' pass defense is pretty bad anyways.
Yeah.
I
think it's a whole lot of – and I feel like that Tampa is just trying to get him the ball too, because the last 3 weeks it's been a Mike Evans just, assault through the air. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and take Tampa, and Mike Evans gets 2 touchdowns.
Yep. Tampa won this game, and they'll keep their NFC South division lead. So, and then the Monday night game, the 5-9 Saints at the 10-4 Green Bay Packers. Should be short and sweet.
Did you see
Green Bay
did you see the glamour shots of this guy playing QB for the Saints?
Nah.
You ain't see like his oh man. It looks like
is it pretty bad?
It's pretty bad, bro. He looks like if Zachary Levi was like in a Hallmark movie about a guy playing NFL quarterback.
Oh, you know what? I did see that. I was like, what in the world? Now that you remember, I did see that.
That guy stands no fucking chance. That guy sucks. Packers win.
Yep. I got a Packers winning too. All right. Let's talk a little bit of basketball and then we'll close this bad boy up. So it was a game that happened Sunday night, the Magic and Knicks. As you know, Magic, Knicks fans are on this podcast. So Paul, do you get a chance to kind of glance at this game at all or see the highlights?
I was watching I had a parlay with the Knicks in it, so I was watching it from that standpoint. But Magic kept it close, bro. Magic kept it close. Knicks pulled away late, but I just think that's just, the Magic right now just don't have enough. I mean, Mo Wagner scored 32 points, career high.
Career high, baby.
Career high for Mo. Bodega Cat had 20 and 20. Not a lot you can do there when that's happening. So, first home loss of the season.
First home loss since April. First home loss delivered to by New York.
So it was inevitable. I imagine the energy in the Kia Center was different. So, I mean, you can't really say it's a big win. I mean, the Magic are hurting right now.
Yeah,
and they just they keep fighting. Y'all had a tough one against Milwaukee 2 days prior in the NBA Cup. I mean, y'all had a legit chance to win that game. There was some questionable officiating towards the last minute of that game. And I think a lot of that just has to do with your team's physicality and how you guys play defense. That they just weren't letting them be physical, and kind of that cost you a little bit. But a lot of fight in that team, man. A lot of dogs.
They do.
A lot of dogs on the Magic.
You can appreciate that because I'm looking at this game and I'm just like, how did the Magic still at one point down 5 or 6 points and really the second quarter at the end of it, that's when the Knicks kind of really made a push, and then it really never got close to 5 until midway through the third and fourth, and but this game was kind of added on because the NBA Cup, so it was an extra game. So my usual season ticket holders that I have sit by me by my left and right wasn't there. Even me, I really didn't plan for it. I was going to try to stay at work and do some stuff, rather adjust my schedule and leave because I'm not going to waste $60 on the ticket. I thought about hitting you up, Paul, just getting you the ticket. I really did. I didn't know what you was up to. But I was like, man, here, just go. Because I had some stuff I had to tend to at work, so I had to change some stuff around and end up going. A lot of Knicks fans as usual. I can count the reasonable Knicks fans in my hand, Paul being one of them. But we tried letting Knicks fans know that, hey, we're missing Paulo and Franz. And
they didn't want to hear it, bro.
They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. And in my session alone, there was Magic Knicks fans arguing almost about getting into fights. And it's always something with the Knicks fans, man. That's why I admire Paul, and I got my boy Johnny Rivera, George Seganot. These guys are including Paul, and even Darnell Weeks that came on the podcast. These are level-headed Knicks fans. You can have a wholehearted basketball conversation with those four gentlemen right there. Everybody else, it is hard to talk to Knicks fans. So, I literally.
Saul was at the game last night too. He was there.
Was he?
Yeah, he had to go. He went. He was happy.
Oh man, but listen, it's always good fun banter. Knicks fans that are obnoxious, the ones that are obnoxious give me headaches. You just gotta really just tuck your head and leave. That's literally what I did. They had their moment. They're in there. They did the whole. If you watch the game and every time Deuce this, and they're Deuce.
Yeah. I just wish the Knicks would do the Liberty were doing when they were winning games in the WNBA playoffs. They would put a pair of Timbs at center court. And that was kind of their call sign of we came in and did business. I wish the Knicks would do that. Just put a pair of Timbs in center court every time you win a road game.
Yeah, man. So, but no, listen, as Paul mentioned, shout out to Mo Wagner, man. I got to watch his and his brother's documentary. as I mentioned before the show, Cortez and Paul on my Google Chrome browser. I still have my subtitles on there. I had to take it off because it was in German. But there was a part of the show where you hear like a little bit of negotiating going between his Asian and Jeff Weltman. And like, dude, like, you really find out like some of these GMs are like assholes, yo. It's like, and Mo, I know he's a dog on the court and sometimes he's an irritant, but watching him over the past few years, he's really a good guy, man. Like he gets it. He's the ultimate teammate. He's always out in the community. He's just such a genuine guy. And so like now I'm rooting for him even harder, man. There's the reason I mentioned that because he deserves some six-man consideration. We're down our star players. Jalen Suggs is struggling. He's dealing with a little bit of injury, but he's struggling. He can't find his shot. Tristan Silver is the only one that's being competent. We went from Jet Howard and Cole Anthony to Kojo and Caleb Houston. Like Jamal Mosley's trying to find anything, and Mo Wagner has come through, and he has been instant offense. And we're gonna need him during the stretch until at least Paulo comes back. And
Goga's giving you guys a spark too, though, man. That guy.
Absolutely. Like our bigs would be like, listen, our bigs have been fantastic, but I'm really hoping that Mo Wagner gets some kind of six-man consideration for the way he's been playing. Goga's, that's what I've been mentioning. He's been fantastic from a standpoint as well. Like our bigs, man, those are the two guys we kind of need to stick around a little bit longer, but Mo deserves to get paid. And now after watching that documentary, I root for Mo more than ever now, man, because I think everybody see him as, oh, well, my brother is Franz and he's a throw-in. This ain't the Nasa situation. No, like Mo Wagner can hoop now. Like, and he's very good at what he does. So, he just got 32 against a very good New York Knicks team. So this guy can play very, very, very well. So.
I like how Thanasis just gets a straight bullet. Like, that's just straight shots at Thanasis.
I'm sorry, Thanasis, but I just sometimes from the outside looking in, Paul, I know you know about the Magic Squad, and I know you know about Mo Wagner, so I'm not directing this toward you and people that kind of know the whole Mo Wagner situation, his story. Like, the dude can hoop. Like, he bounced around, and even his documentary, he like, dude, I just want to feel appreciated. I want to feel love. Like, he's into it, bro. He wants to play basketball. He's just not there. Like, yeah, Franz is the better brother, and he's the better hooper out of the brothers, but Mo can play. Mo can seriously play, man, and he seems like Orlando. He loves it around here. He loves the fans. He loves the crowd, and we're gonna need him for next month or so to come in and be an instant offense, man. I laughed because I guess if you saw Wendell Carter Jr. and Cam Payne kind of get into it, I need the gift now where he was trying to push Wendell Carter around like away, like no, dude, no. It was hilarious. Like Wendell just started laughing, and Mo's like, "Come on, man, let's go away. We need you, big fella, go away." So,
which is funny because Mo is usually the guy that instigates those things.
Right. So to see him actually pulling Wendell Carter Jr. away, and it's like, no. And he literally just pushing big Wendell Carter away, like, no, dude, get away. We need you, big fella. We have like 8 people on the bench. Like, get away. Like, no. So shout out to Mo Wagner and the Knicks Magic game was fun, and Orlando's got a really tough stretch here. Knicks are now the 3 seed. They did catch Orlando in there, so it's gonna be a fun run going to the postseason after All-Star break to see where these teams are going to lay at. Boston is still in thick of things. Cleveland's still leading the East, so Miami's been kind of catching a little bit fire a little bit. Indy is kind of up and down, so the East is going to be real. And Atlanta's playing very well. By the way. I know Paul want to hear that. It's LTY, F Trey Young.
That's fine.
All right. One more segment, man, and we'll close this bad boy up. So Golden State traded for Dennis Schrader, a second-round draft pick, and DeAnthony Melton, who was out for the rest of the season. So DeAnthony Melton is just kind of like a cap hole trade there. He had I want to say MCL, ACL injury. So it's just kind of like a cap filler with a second-round draft pick. What's your thoughts about Dennis Schroeder getting traded to Golden State? Because Golden State, I don't know you've been watching Golden State recently, man, but they're on a slump right now. I know you mentioned the great game they had between them and the Mavericks, but they're 2-8 in their last 10 games, and they sit 8th in the West. It was a team that was sitting 2 about like 2-3 weeks ago. What's up with Golden State, man? What do you think about this trade that they get Dennis Schrader?
I mean, they got Dennis Schrader at a good time. He's having like a career year.
Looks great. Looks great.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's funny because the season that he's having is just you don't even know about it because he's on Brooklyn or wherever he's at right now, just
Brooklyn,
rotting away. So, I think it's good. I mean, he's a feisty guy. He plays defense. He can score. He can get to the basket. I think he fits kind of the scheme that they're looking for, like especially when Steph Curry's out of the game. He gives you a predominant ball handler. And like they've just been struggling, man. Like they're constantly shuffling their lineup around. They're constantly doing things. I mean, Steve Kerr is literally, now they're going with Jonathan Kuminga in the starting lineup. He can't come off the bench anymore. They're just trying to get whatever going that they can. Draymond Green said if he had to, he'd come off the bench if it was better for the team, but he's the facilitator of that offense, so you can't do that. Yeah. Podzinski's not doing anything at all. And he was kind of a guy that they were kind of building that team around, and potentially why they were able to let Klay Thompson leave, because they were hopefully building the future with this guy, and he's not doing anything for them.
He's in the sophomore slump, bro.
Man, so it's good, but I think if you're Golden State, you still need one more piece. So I know they're probably not done dealing. I think they're going to try to get one more guy. At what cost, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Podzinski was traded at this point. And some of their other kind of lower asset guys, but obviously the Kumingas and Buddy Hields with Steph Curry and Draymond Green, like that core should be doing far better than they're doing right now. I just think that there's a lapse when the starters come off versus when the bench is on the floor that Steve Kerr is still trying to figure out. So I mean they'll be fine. I mean, I don't think any of us thought that they would be a top tier Western Conference team, but I feel like they'll be around the play-in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. Their coaching's too good. Steph Curry's too good. So they'll be in a lot of games. So being at 8, they're right where I figured they would be towards the end of the year, battling for those final spots, especially being a play-in. So it's still early, but I think Golden State's who we thought Golden State would be.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of calling out a lot of people on X and Twitter because Golden State got off to this hot start. I'm like, I said they're fraudulent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I said besides Steph Curry, they're fraudulent. I don't believe this is sustainable. Golden State is a flawed team, and Steph Curry. This is what happens when you have a superstar. And I'm finding this very hard as a Magic fan right now with 2 stars out. So you become a flawed team. Yes, you still have talented pieces on your roster, but there's a star that really just put things together and make things go, just as Steph Curry does. But here's what I've seen from Golden State. And it's been like this for the past few years. So this season so far, there are 26 in total rebounds allowed. There are 27 in personal fouls, 21st in free throws attempts, and 29th in free throws made. Teams get additional possessions when it comes to rebound. You allow team to get additional rebounds on you. You get points to the paint. You get second chance points. You get constant movement. You put Steph Curry in unfavorable situations. He has improved as a defender. Yes, he has. But your defense is unbalanced, and this becomes a problem. Now, when you come to free throws, you want to get to the free throw line and make free throws is one thing. The second thing is your free throw ability or to get to the line helps you set up your defense in a half-court possession. So due to them fouling a lot, you are not only putting them at the line and getting points, you're also just giving up just extra possessions. High volume team, which we know Golden State is, shoot long range, but they're not. And this is where when you shoot that many threes, you focus on that many threes, and like me and Paul kind of criticized in the segment earlier on this show, you tend to not get to line as much. And then now, as we try to get to an analytics type of deal and trying to figure out 3 versus 2, match this much in attempts versus this, and Schroeder helps. Don't get me wrong. Paul mentioned he's having a great year. Another player to get to the rim. He's going to be able to gravitate some of these defenders and give, guys like Kuminga and Moses Moody and guys such as Buddy Hield, kind of good look shots where guys not within 3 to 5 feet. So you have a better shot attempt with someone like Schroeder and Curry still driving the rim. And sometimes Curry can play off the ball and be a guard just like Draymond is and handling the ball. So now you got 2 ball handlers with Schroeder and Draymond Green. But I just wasn't really a big believer in their start. Everybody was bragging about the Lakers start as well too. I was like, I just don't believe in the Warriors and the Lakers. They got the big names. You guys are getting older. Now we're hearing about LeBron. We're not hearing much about LeBron and what the struggle is. The guy is it's December, right? So he'll be turning 40 this month.
NBA is funny because they're quick to get on the Magic, right? Magic start losing, but they're completely beat up. There is no factual statistical proof that the Magic are overachieving because of what they did last year. They're just playing they were playing really well, all this stuff. But it's the Lakers didn't get better. Golden State didn't get better. So when they start coming out the gates hot, the only place for them to go is down. Especially when, LeBron starts missing some games, AD is the healthiest he's been, but it's just the moves that the Lakers made, they made moves to literally be a bottom-feeding Western Conference team. Their bench is terrible. They got a lot of injuries on their big. They have no other bigs aside from Anthony Davis. All their bigs are hurt. D'Angelo Russell's not good. But it's just people are quick to call out teams like Orlando who made the playoffs last year and damn near knocked off Cleveland and advanced in the playoffs. But meanwhile, the Lakers, because they have LeBron James, or Golden State because Steph Curry, it's just we knew they were going to be this good, and they start falling apart, and people are like, oh, what's the problem? Yeah. They're not good. That. Sometimes you're just a fraud, bro. Sometimes you're straight just a fraud, and you got to accept the fact that you're a fraud. That's it.
And me and Paul talked about Dalton Connect. We think he's a fantastic player. That was a great pickup by the Lakers in the draft, but that's the only thing that you got to show for. Gabe Vincent's been invisible too since y'all paid him. Totally different player than he looked in Miami than he is with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. I guess that Heat culture, just those Heat players, I don't know if it's just the value of their system, just make their players look better than what it is, because every time a Heat player leaves the Heat culture, they look bland. So, I don't know. But, yeah, the Lakers and the Warriors, man. The West is very competitive. And I just didn't see it. But
I just don't see a world where Austin Reeves as your starting point guard and Rui Hachimura as your starting, small forward or power forward or whatever is a top 4 or 5 team in the Western Conference. I just don't see where people look at that and be like, yeah, we're gonna be fine. It's no, dude. LeBron's 40, and AD. You just hope he doesn't come down on a rebound the wrong way and he's out for a long period of time.
Yep. Can he stay healthy?
Kudos to him for staying healthy. He's having a hell of a season. 100%. But it's just not sustainable. The way that they were playing was not sustainable. And again, that scheduling falls into that. They had a very favorable schedule coming out the gates. There was a stretch there where LeBron had 3 or 4 straight triple doubles or something like that. There was some crazy things that was happening to put the Lakers in that position, but they're just not good, dude. And Golden State's the same way. Golden State's just not good. And it's Steve Kerr's a great coach, and I feel if they can get the right pieces and they can plug them in, they'll be fine. But I didn't see them being anything more than a team fighting for the play-in in the first place. So them being an 8th seed isn't surprising to me. Yeah. But just seeing how bad some of those pieces have been, Buddy Hield's not playing great, and Podzinski's basically non-existent. So you got guys like Moses Moody in the game making plays, and Gary Payton III. These guys are playing way more than they probably should because no one else is producing. So Steve Kerr's out there just trying to strike a match and find a spark. So it is what it is, brother.
They're saying they're gonna make a move for a star, but I'm trying to figure out what piece are they going to use. Are they going to mortgage their future with draft picks on top of some of these role players and get a star? It's just, and this is the conundrum that you run into when the Golden State Warriors have been doing it well for so long. They've been living by Steph Curry. Steph Curry is a gravity puller and has been and still is a gravity puller for a decade. He is just that good to make your team. I said this before in the past. Like, if you got someone like Steph Curry and LeBron or these stars, you're probably gonna get a 10+ win added to your win total. I don't think that's for the case with LeBron now. He's just a little bit older, but now he got Anthony Davis. So Anthony Davis, I feel like, you're probably gonna win a few more games than you should have because you got a player like that on your squad. And I feel that with Golden State too. Like, they got off to this incredible start and they were just playing very well. Draymond Green looking pretty much like the point forward he has in the past and making shots, but Kuminga has not popped. Brandon Podziemski has not popped. And, some of these pieces that they have gotten has not popped. So now I'm hearing that they're still trying to get a star. What assets are you going to use to get a star when your assets are looking average to mediocre?
And what star is going to want to go there at this point of the Golden State Warriors, right? Steph Curry's coming towards the end of his career. There's no Klay Thompson. Draymond Green isn't what Draymond Green used to be. Like, there's not a lot of value there to before where it's like, oh, we got KD, Klay, Steph, Draymond. Steve Kerr's our head coach. We're running up and down. We're shooting, we're doing all this stuff. But it's like, if I'm a star, I don't know that I want to go there.
Right. What's attracted me to Golden State? If I know Steph Curry is on his downhill, and he's probably still going to listen, shooting the last skill to go away. It's the last skill to go away. But what else you going to put together with me with Steph Curry? When I just list off, you have issues rebounding, you have issues getting to the line. These are essential ways to win a game besides shooting. And here goes our point that me and Paul had on the podcast earlier, that shooting becomes such a premium that people are oversaturating it, and you're getting stuff like this. End result is like this. So, listen, the Golden State line is interesting to follow because now you see a dynasty that was a dynasty for a decade, and now they're on the back hill of it, and they're still trying to please Steph Curry and go from there. Is Steph Curry going to still be in Golden State in a few years? We don't know.
Apparently, everybody wants Jonas Valanciunas from Washington, so apparently he's a guy that the Lakers could be interested in, and Golden State could be interested in. I think Golden State could move a couple pieces, maybe and get, because the contract's not that bad, so you can get yourself a big who can rebound. But I just think that they need star power back in Golden State, and I think at this point it's going to be hard to find that with the assets that they have.
At one point, the Golden State trying to get Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah,
do you really want? Do you really want to deal with Danny Ainge?
No,
I don't want to deal with Danny Ainge. He had really got over some teams.
Mm-hmm. You
want to get Lauri Markkanen? Good luck, because Danny Ainge does not play when it comes to getting talent and getting assets.
Yeah.
All right. So, but hey, Golden State.
You'll make that trade with him. You'll go home and the locks on your house will be different. He got your house now.
Mortgage the future. All your picks. Golden State will be irrelevant for another decade if you make this trade. So, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else like that? We good, Paul?
No, bro. Just just shout out to everybody that been following along, and we had 300 followers on our Facebook page this past weekend. So shout out to everybody there. We got like 20 new followers in the last week. So thanks for everybody that listens and shares and does all that fun stuff. But we got a lot of fun stuff going on in the future. So just hang tight, and we're gonna make it worth your while.
Appreciate it, man. Shout out to my brother Rob and Brooke. They got married. I was part of the wedding last week, so it was beautiful to see these two wonderful people get married. So being the best man.
Wedding test is different, bro.
It's a good vibe, man. So it was cool, man. And then shout out. I went to go check out Trans-Siberian Orchestra for the first time. Shout out to my buddy Garrett. He hooked up some free tickets. So that was a cool experience, man. Have you ever seen them live?
No, they're on my list, though.
Hey, please go. Please go. we didn't have to go to a Christmas party afterwards, and we didn't stay for the whole show. But even for the hour that we was there, it was fantastic, man. I recommend. I think next year I'm actually going to try to go and watch the whole show. All right. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Still stay tuned during the week. Me and Paul be at it, getting it in. A lot of content's coming out now with basketball and football. As Paul mentioned, we appreciate to our new listeners that's tuning in. But hey, now that you're tuning in and learn us, we can tell you how to get a hold of us. So you can follow the podcast page at BLC Podcast on X. You can follow me on X at CP, Mr. Mac.
I'm on X at _Paul_Mac and on Instagram at ThePaulMac520.
Absolutely. Facebook, you can type in Balls My Court Podcast. On YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, same handle, BLC Podcast. Give us a like, comment, shout there. We're also on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher. I'm working on iHeartRadio. I know Julio. I'm working on something. The link is not working. The email did not send me an email. I'm working on it. I promise. Windows, Google Play. We're also check us out on our internet radio station, Radiate.fm. We've been there every Thursday at 3 p.m. So you want to check out the show there as well. Thanks for tuning into that. And that's all I got, man. We good?
Yeah,
we good, Paul?
Good one. Yeah, we're out of here, brother.
Signing off. All right. Well, speaking for Paul, Matt, this is Cortez, Paul, Ball My Court Podcast.
See y'all next week.
Good.
Peace.
Yes, sir. Peace.